This is Sports with Hunzi. Welcome back. We're going to talk about sports, a couple different topics. I'll start with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, as you guys can see behind me, big Gator fan. Lane Kiffin. We're on Lane Kiffin watch. I had multiple people text me about the real estate being bought in Gainesville, expensive homes, blah, blah, blah. Lane has got an interesting decision to make. Ole Miss head coach, he's got to leave. Everything that's circulating around the program right now and where he is in terms of endearment with the Ole Miss fan base, I don't know that this is recoverable if he stays. Every time a job opens up from now on, it's going to be Lane Kiffin as the number one option until he decides to leave Ole Miss or until he decides to become a bad coach. Right now, I anticipate him choosing between LSU and Florida. The context of the storylines, or I should say the meta of the storylines going around, I think talks about money and the football program. I don't know that they have tapped into what school personality fits Lane better. In my opinion, I think it's LSU. LSU has more swagger, short and sweet. Lane's got swagger. He wants to talk shit. He wants to be one of the guys. He's young, comparatively speaking, to some of the other coaches. He's been in the game for so long and had quite the journey, a journeyman himself. LSU's energy and Lane's energy, I think, meet each other better. Florida, where we were with Steve Spurrier, kind of matches that same Lane Kiffin energy. However, the energy that Florida has had since Urban Meyer has left has become entitled as well as swaggerless. Very polished, or I should say, we were supposed to be very polished. However, it hasn't been that way. And Florida offering Lane a lot of money while not offering him the energy of the fan base that LSU can, I think puts Lane in an easier spot to want to choose LSU. Florida has great facilities. I don't know that they're any better than LSU. And to live in New Orleans, to be a part of the community and swagger that LSU, Baton Rouge, former players, the culture and the family that LSU has created through their alumni and their fan base right now seems to fit Lane so much better than UF. And if we really want to boil it down to it, I don't know that UF has created a favorable alumni family like LSU has. We don't have the same sort of players and or spokespersons for the university itself. It has been a very dry part of UF, or I should say UF sports over the past couple of years, really since the end of the Urban Meyer days. Just no swagger, not a whole lot of great ambassadors of Florida, and the fan base has been ill as well as entitled and somewhat hateful towards most of their coaches since Urban's left. I don't know why Lane would want to come here specifically, unless it was just money or he thought he had a better chance at producing a national championship, if that's even his goal. I know that that's the goal of UF, and it's the goal of LSU, but LSU goes about it in a much different way. And it just seems to fit Lane better. To the second topic, Raheem Morris, the Atlanta Falcons, and the mess that is. Woof. We'll start back in the 24 NFL draft and slightly before it. Atlanta signs Kirk Cousins through free agency, 4 years, $180 million, $100 million guaranteed. Then come the draft a couple months later. They draft Michael Penix, 8th overall. They take a quarterback who is older, not young, banged up knees, and use a top 10 draft pick claiming that Michael Penix is their guy of the future. Meanwhile, they just gave 4 years, a significant amount of time compared to how old Michael Penix was, which I think he was 24 at the time coming out of college, so he would have been 28 by the time that Kirk Cousins is done with his contract, if he made it all 4 years, and Penix starts after that. So right off the bat, questions begin to arise as to what direction are they going? Do they know what they're building? Are we sure that they know what they're doing? Terry Fontenot and Arthur Blank making decisions on the head coaching choice even prior to that, picking Raheem Morris. Not sure that there was alignment between Terry and Arthur and now Raheem. Begs the question, what are you guys doing? Flash forward to this year, the Falcons trade back into the first round to select James Pierce Jr. and trade away an unprotected 2026 pick in the first round. So now they have no first-round pick, and that first-round pick is a top 10, according to the Falcons' resume this year. We're looking at the 8th overall pick due to the Rams, and the Falcons now have lost Michael Penix for the year with a torn ACL. Again, they are going to be putting in Kirk Cousins to supplant him, he of which has been sitting on the bench for the past 18 months because he was not playing well. So they put Michael Penix put him in a little bit early. And now you have lost your rookie quarterback who will now be 27 by the time that 26, 27 by the time that you get him back. And you're playing an older quarterback. You're at 3-7. I don't know that I don't know that the Falcons could have screwed this up any better. Leads to a bunch of questions, which are, do you have the right coach? Do you have the right quarterback? Do you have the right GM? None of those you can answer with linear thought. You don't know what the alignment is because Arthur picked the coach. You don't even know if the GM and the head coach are on the same page. You don't know anything about the quarterback because you haven't prioritized the offensive line, and you haven't had enough time to look at him and decide, is it coaching and or is it situation? Is it the quarterback? You have no context clues for what's going on. You are leaving the fan base and the rest of the league wondering what's going on, who is good, who's not, who needs to go, who needs to leave. I think the solution is basically cleaning house in the front office and starting over. Kirk's contract and his guarantees will be done, I think, next year or the year after it. And if Penix is healthy by then, maybe you can make some judgments later down the line, but it's still going to be he's going to still be 27, 28 by the time that he's back and healthy. I don't know that you want to build your franchise around a quarterback who you're just beginning to believe in, who's that old. It's not kosher, that's for sure. The the malpractice that goes on in the NFL is widespread and substantial. I don't know that that I say this about a lot of teams, but the Falcons are so mismanaged in such a interesting way. I don't think, at least in my lifetime, I've ever seen something so egregious. What I think Raheem and Terry were trying to do was to be bold, and when Michael Penix was there, available for them at 8 overall in the draft, they decided to be bold. Well, when you decide to be bold, sometimes that can be stupid. And it really has come across as stupid considering the context of the decisions that you've made later down the line and before that. I wonder if and how the coaching, or I should say Raheem Morris, gets this job if this was a part of the plan. If this was a plan and you're presenting this to Arthur Blank from the jump, how in the world does this come to fruition? And then on top of that, trading up back into the first round and getting rid of your first round pick for this year or 2026, and now it's going to be a top 10 pick. Woof. You gambled that it was going to be a bad pick, and it's not. It's a really good pick because the Falcons suck. And what else is there left to do besides fire everybody? The week 12 NFL schedule. I picked the games last week, money line, 14 games, 10-4 on money line picks. We go this week. First game on Thursday night, Buffalo at Houston. Buffalo coming off of a high-scoring affair against Tampa Bay. Houston is still starting Davis Mills. I'll take Buffalo in this one. I know they're on the road. I know it's a short week, but Houston's bad. Pittsburgh at Chicago. Chicago's playing good ball, and Pittsburgh's defense is not good. I'll take Chicago. New England at Cincinnati. New England coming off of a decent win against the Jets. Cincinnati still can't get it together. I'll take New England. The Giants at Detroit. Detroit coming off of their loss to Philly. It will be in the Dome. Jared Goff will play better. I'll take Detroit. Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay at least put a win together last week. Minnesota doesn't look happy with J.J. McCarthy. The defense still looks good, but they're on the road. I'll take Green Bay, especially with J.J. McCarthy starting in the cold on the road. Seattle at Tennessee. Seattle coming off of a close loss to the Rams. I like Seattle here. Tennessee's bad. Indianapolis at Kansas City. Kansas City needs this one. They can't drop below 500. Indianapolis is on the road. Daniel Jones is not playing in the Dome. I'll take Kansas City. New York, the Jets on the road against Baltimore. Baltimore coming off of their win, which they shouldn't have won against Cleveland. Nonetheless, Baltimore wins this game. Tyrod Taylor's playing for the Jets. I'll take Lamar. Cleveland at Las Vegas. I'll take Cleveland here. Myles Garrett's playing too good of football. That defense is going to be a wrecking ball for the offensive line that's in Vegas. I know Shedeur starting in Cleveland. I don't think he'll play well, but I would endorse the defense to win that game for him. Jacksonville at Arizona. Arizona coming off of a large loss. A lot of points scored in that game. Jacksonville coming off of a blowout of the Chargers, making the trip west. I'll take Jacksonville here. Vibes are good. And I think the defensive line's playing a little bit better. Philadelphia at Dallas. This is going to be where Philly snaps out of their funk offensively. Dallas has no defense, and I don't think the offense will be able to produce with Philly's defense playing as well as they are right now. Atlanta at New Orleans. I like Atlanta in this game. Bijan will have a good game. Kirk Cousins will find a way to keep him in it, and New Orleans will find a way to throw it away. Tampa Bay at the Rams, Sunday Night Football. Tampa Bay coming off a really tough loss. The Rams coming off of a great win. Rams are playing their best football. Matt Stafford's playing their best football. Tampa Bay doesn't have a pass rush. I'll take the Rams. Monday Night Football, Carolina at San Francisco. Bryce is playing well. And we'll take that into consideration considering he played Atlanta last week. San Francisco's got Brock back. They've got George Kittle back. They're playing well. I'll take San Francisco at home on Monday night. That is the end of Sports with Hunzy this week. I will see you back next week.